finally, at the end of all of our films, a pivotal question remains. How long can weird love survive? And it's up to our main characters and the world around them to answer this.
Jewelry, watch wallet.
Interestingly, in Lars and the Real Girl, Lars is given opportunity time and time again to express himself the way that he wants to express himself. We see the community accept him, we see his sister-in-law accept him, we see the doctor accept him. Everything around him seems to accept him. The only thing that is not going for him throughout the film is his own sense of what he should be like, of how he should behave with others. And I want to say that watching this film, I had the sense that the writer specifically, in a nice way, wanted to make you think that Lars needs to be made normal. Because the outside world is constructed in a way to make him seem strange, yet everybody else is fine with it. So it's clear to assume that if there is a problem, then he must be the problem. And I kind of hate this, to be honest. I wish that the film accepted him for being weird, but instead, here we have a weird sense of the characters in the film accepting him, but the film structure itself saying that people need to act normal.
Thinking that maybe we could all go out sometime.
In Punch Drunk Love, it's kind of different because in the film itself, we can see clearly these two forces fighting against each other. Barry and his sisters clearly don't agree with each other, and Lena, interestingly, takes Barry's side and she accepts him for who he is. So he's not really put into a position where he has to change who he is at the end. Instead, he's given the chance to be accepted for who he is by Lena. And so by putting him at a low point earlier in the film, we can reward the audience for sticking with us and Barry for sticking out of his comfort zone and trying things with Lena, with a relationship, an end where they can live happily ever after afterwards in a weird and awkward relationship. But of course the question remains is, how long are his sisters going to let this relationship continue? Eagle vs. Shark, I would say, is the most nuanced out of these four films in terms of how is a person supposed to act with their uniqueness and quirkiness. And I guess the most mature way of putting this is that at the very end of the film, the quirkiness and uniqueness is almost put to the side, specifically putting Jared in a situation where he kind of needs to let go of his feeling that he's different, feeling that he's special, just to be, in a way, nice to Lily for sticking around with him. But towards the end of the film, this weirdness is not the main question of the film. The main question becomes, can we stop, please, being concerned with how we are as individuals and instead look at how we treat each other?
I'm a loser.
And I would say Dog Lovers is a fourth take on this possible ending. Dog Lovers specifically ends with accepting the weirdness of Mr. Reed, but with a lot of conditions attached. So in a way, he's not yet off the hook, but he's allowed to continue behaving the way he's been behaving so far. And Miranda, who seems to be controlling the situation, has not really had the chance yet to put herself forward. So the film, in the sense, almost leaves on a cliffhanger of how long can this weird and wonderful relationship continue? And while this scene happens in a closed-off environment, the audience should be interested to see where would they take their relationship in the outside world and how would it be accepted. And these four films ask the question, how can strange and quirky people find connection and love in our society? And can this weird and quirky love and relationships continue to exist, and for how long? We must decide what level of weirdness do we tolerate. Very interestingly, a lot of these films push the boundaries of what is socially acceptable to be quote-unquote weird. So of course there is a limit of how weird a person and a relationship can be allowed to be in a society. Otherwise, they might be deemed antisocial, and of course there is behavior that is destructive and that is no longer weird and quirky. So it is up to us to decide where we draw these lines. And of course, what is more important to us? Individual agency, individual differences, or the cohesion of society?